This is what hustle culture gets wrong. They just tell you to work harder, to lose sleep, to get more information. And right now in the information age, we have a lot of information. We know the things, we know where we want to go. We know what to do to get there, but it's just not working. We're trying, doing everything, but we feel stuck in place or like we're running on the hamster wheel. What is happening? It's not that you're lazy. It's not that it's not meant for you. What it is that you cannot outperform your subconscious mind. Nobody really talks about this, but you can't outperform your subconscious mind. And the thing is, you're not in alignment. One, we need to reprogram our subconscious mind, and then we need to get into alignment. And so in this video, I'm going to tell you how to get into alignment and how you can reprogram your subconscious mind. Last year, I read a book about being a spiritual being, having a human experience. And in the book, they talk about how, one, your subconscious mind waits for direction through language and through your vision. And that is also how we programmed our subconscious mind. We do it unconsciously. We did it all of our life. We just picked up on cues from what we saw other people do, what we've learned through the language that we're taught, and then we start to act it out. And then it becomes automatic. But you cannot do something new using the old programming, especially when you hit this wall. There's a block there that's holding you back. And that's your subconscious mind. Those are beliefs that you have that you may not even know, and it's keeping you stuck. So we cannot go to the next level and get past this block until we reprogram it. But in order to do that, you also have to understand that you need to clear your blank slate. You need to have a blank slate and understand that we are a blank slate and there's pure potential energy in us. When we were born here, like I said, we were conditioned. We were taught these things. We learned it. These were imprinted and they became a part of our conscious and subconscious mind. But we were a blank slate. So we need to get back to that. This is going through a transformation at this point, which would mean an ego death, which is a death of your identity, the old version of yourself, to step into the new version. And there's a whole process, and I talk about this on my YouTube channel, so subscribe if you're new here. But in order to get to this new version and to have these habits stick and to get past this wall, we have to clear the slate, which is getting rid of the old identity. That's the ego death that people talk about. And when you do that, and you clear your slate, now you can rewrite something new on it. We can reprogram the subconscious mind. But we need to relearn. We need to unlearn and relearn. And again, this is a process. We cannot jump steps here. And in the book about being a spiritual being, having a human experience, they talk about how your attitude determines your altitude, how high you can go. And when you're up there, you have a different perspective. But your state of being, the energetic expression of who you are, needs to change. That is your attitude, how you show up. And you can bring new energy. A lot of times we allow the outside world to dictate how we feel. And yes, we can feel a certain way about different things that are happening outside of us, but we also have the choice to allow it to linger longer than it should, to identify with those emotions, or to feel it, let it move through, release it through different techniques, using different tools, and then deciding what attitude we want to have. A lot of times, especially when we're in the mundane life, the regular life, the routine, go to work, you get up, you go to work, you may wake up late because you stayed up late, we're into this routine and this habit, our sleep cycle's off, it's all off, and we just get up and we're in pain and we're sluggish and we're complaining and all this, and we're just, we look in the mirror, we don't like what we see, and now we have that attitude. That is a state of being. You're now a ball of energy of all of that attitude and those beliefs that you're perpetuating over and over. and you're just swirling around and taking that wherever you go. And then we expect life to be great somehow. And then we blame it on life and say this is happening to us. Although we are attracting that now because you're an energetic, you're electromagnetic being. You're pulling that in and you're pushing out stuff too. So take responsibility. You get to choose your attitude. Your attitude determines your altitude. And now when we're at a higher altitude, it changes our perspective. And that will change what you believe because you're seeing things from a different view, at a different angle. And we know that when light hits a prism, it reflects differently from the angle that it's at. And so it's going to give you a different vision, a different visual, and a different image that you see the world as. And this is on a subconscious level as well as a conscious level. So consciously, we're choosing our attitude. We're choosing how we show up. That's going to determine our altitude. And where we stay at in our altitude determines our perspective on life. So if I'm down here, because my attitude's been here for so long, my perspective is only going to be here, surface level. It's only going to see this. Now my belief is here, so I'm going to think that life is like this. But if I could start to hover here more often and get used to having a higher altitude, or being at a higher altitude and having a higher attitude, it gets easier and more natural, and I see it from a different perspective. I can hold it for longer. I see life differently. My beliefs are now changing. And now, at a higher altitude, I can change my tilt of the wings of my plane. Your tilt is your intent. Do I intend to go up? Do I intend to go down? Again, we can choose to intend to stay where we're at. We can choose to intend to go higher, to a higher altitude. Your intent tilts the wings of your plane, of this vehicle that you have. So when we have a higher intent or an intent to go higher, our wings tilt, our attitude moves, and then we can get to an altitude of where we want to be, which will change our perspective. Again, we want to do this over a period of time because it takes a while for the physical to manifest into reality. Once we change and reprogram ourselves, it's going to take a while to show up. Well, you need to give it time. It is a process. Anyone who's ever lost a lot of weight, anyone who's ever built muscle and gotten healthier, they know it's a process. It's a couple years at least, but a lot of people want it in the summer, in a couple months. So you want to change habits that you've had for years or decades in a couple months. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I don't know how much manifestation you want to do, but I'm watching the show The Beauty, and this is not that. Okay. And that's a short-lived thing. And if you watch that show, you can see the repercussions of that type of a thing. But either way, long-term sustainable success will require a longer period of time of you sustaining these habits. And you need to give it that time. So we change our identity. So we show up as someone who has the attitude and the intent to have a different perspective. And then we reprogram the subconscious mind because we now identify as someone who does that. Our perspective has changed, so we have a different belief system. And again, a lot of this is subconscious beliefs. You've had limiting beliefs about money, about fear of success, about people pleasing. There's underlying emotions that you need to deal with because you're afraid to experience them. And you think that getting to that side of things, being that person, having those goals, it will stir up those emotions, and you want to avoid that subconsciously still. And so what we want to do is we know our goals, we know how to get there, we know what to do when we get there, but that's all about having something outside of ourselves. It is a destination, which is great. You should know. Have a vision board. Have a place we want to go. We have goals. But the thing is, we need to be the person who can receive what comes in. We have to be the person that can show up when those goals are accomplished. And to be that person before we start doing the things to get there, we need to clear the blank slate, establish this identity of that person who does those things consistently. And that takes inner work. This is a transformation. Transformation is about shedding and becoming. Goals are about building, pushing. So that's a different way that we're showing up. And so we're in a different season right now. When it stops working, it's just a signal that the seasons have changed. And we need to do some inner work before we can push and move forward again. And so we want to be. Then we will do what's in alignment with who we are. And then we can have those things. We can do and have the goals and experience the destination that we're working towards. But until then, we need to clear the slate, understand that life is now pure potential. Like anything is possible. And then we come into alignment. And I talk about this a lot on my channel, so go ahead and subscribe if you're new here, about how to be in alignment. Because when you're in alignment, that's your true north. That's what you truly desire, what you truly want. You establish your identity. We identify these patterns, these subconscious patterns, so that we can stop them, and then we can reprogram ourselves. We need to relearn ourselves. And so now we have the new, and then we establish what it is that we truly believe, now that we've reprogrammed ourselves. And so once we are that person, once we've come into alignment, then we can attract in, because again, if we're electromagnetic beings, we're attracting it in and we're pushing it out. And when you give, because you take responsibility of what you're putting out, you will also receive. And so you start to move as this new person with this new perspective, understanding and taking responsibility for your actions and how you move through the world. You establish your values and reprogram your subconscious mind with new beliefs, because you have a new perspective now, so you have new beliefs. And then we can show up as this new person. We've now become. That's the transformation. When we go through that journey of transformation, that is our compass. We've now recalibrated our compass. We are now in alignment. And so we know the direction, and then the goal is our destination. So now our compass is aligned. We now have our true north, and then we can go towards our destination. And now we know how to tilt our wings. Now we know how to get our altitude. Sometimes it drops, but we know how to get it back up because we've learned. And then we're able to sustain that and get to our destination. And then when we get there, we refuel, we readjust, and we recalibrate if needed. Because it's growth. This is the growth journey. And sometimes we think we want something, and when we get there, it's like, oh, what was that for? It wasn't as fulfilling as we thought. And that's when you go back within, we reassess. You may need to clear the slate again, reprogram your subconscious mind again for new beliefs, because you now accomplished that, and you're like, that was easy. Now what? But it's not that you're behind. It's not that you don't deserve the thing. It's not that you need more information. What you need to do is reprogram your subconscious mind. You can look into NLP. These are the way we use our language is very important to understand. Etymology, and then also your beliefs and your perspective. How to reprogram ourselves. Because we have cognitive dissonance sometimes, because we know we want the thing, but we're so used to the old, and we were taught this way, and nobody else really believes that, but I know it's possible, but I still have these old beliefs, and I'm still in this environment. So then we have cognitive dissonance. It's pushing against what we really want. We're actually pushing it away now. We're coming from a lack mentality. We're hurting ourselves. So we need to work on reprogramming our subconscious mind. It takes asking questions, doing the inner work. Like I said, it's a transformation journey, but it is worth it. You will get to your destination. You will accomplish the goals if you stick with it. If you do the work, the inner work, you will make it through. You will get there. So keep going. This is just an awareness video that you don't need more information. You actually need to stop consuming the information. You need to pause and do some inner work. Work through whatever is happening inside of you. Regulate your nervous system so that you can come back into alignment. And when you're in alignment, you start to move as this new person through life with a new attitude, a new perspective. And then clarity comes as you start to move. And then that will create momentum. You will get unstuck. And it's just a feeling. You're not stuck. You just don't think you're going anywhere right now, but you just can't physically see it. But things are happening in the background. Allow it the time and space to happen. But in the meantime, through this pause, through this middle passage, do the work. Go on a self-discovery journey. Try to do things a little bit different than doing it the regular routine way that you've been doing it. Switch it up a little bit. Do something for yourself, for your inner child. What did you used to like to do as a child that you no longer do? Create some space to create, to enjoy life. What does it even feel like? What does it look like? Disconnect, draw, crochet, knit, roll down a hill, whatever the thing is for you to spice your life up a little bit. And that may spark some inspiration as well through this journey. But again, continue on, keep going, keep shining. You got this. And don't forget to subscribe, like this video, share it with someone else that you think might need this information right now. And thank you for joining me in this video. Until next time, continue to shine on.